Major League Baseball tonight on the 252 ESPN Radio Network. Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host the Washington Nationals. Pregame starts at 6:30 p.m. and first pitch, I think, is set for 7 p.m. This is also going to be on ESPN television. We were talking about the Nationals not too long ago, but they've got a ways to go to catch the Braves and Phillies right now.
5 games back.
Long ways to go,
Just over 500. 1 game above 500. Team's way too good to be 1 game above 500.
Yeah. Well, and what's the great cure? Playing the Pirates, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, they have been just hemorrhaging runs lately, too. So
Did you see, this is off topic, but so Mark Reynolds, the guy they signed, like out of nowhere, like a month ago, came in and had like a 2 home run night on his very first appearance. I think he had like a 9 or 10 RBI game
right
on Saturday. And then yesterday he came in for some pitching duty. The guy's like an outfielder, like a pinch hitter, and they used him to pitch. I think he threw like 10 pitches or something in last night's game.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's tonight. Pirates, Nationals, 7 p.m. here on 252 ESPN Radio. Our good friend Carolina, who is obviously a vital part of our office team. She's our business brain.
She's our glue
marketing guy. Yes, and she fills in at once a day and comes in here and reads headlines for us, but she's on vacation. I think she's in the Pacific Northwest right now, enjoying some of that close to Seattle. I don't know, some weird Pacific Northwest named city that I can't. It's near Seattle, though, I can tell you that. But so we're going to miss her for the next few days with that. For the next few weeks, you're right.
She's taking a whole entire month off. So slacker.
That means that we are going to have to do the headlines ourselves. So with that being said, I want to start off by telling you the headlines are brought to you by Taqueria San Luis, Highway 70, just outside of New Bern. In fact, 1706 Highway 70 outside of New Bern. Even better news, tomorrow is Taco Tuesday. That's where you can get tacos for $1.25, like authentic tacos. Chorizo, asada, pollo, whatever. They're authentic. This is what's great. Now open until 9 p.m. on Taco Tuesdays.
Ooh.
Get that extra hour in. So
extra hour eating tacos.
That's tomorrow night. But everything they have there is fantastic. The burritos, tortas. Taqueria San Luis, 1706 Highway 70, just outside of New Bern. And again, tomorrow is Taco Tuesday, where tacos are just $1.25.
Oh, you want to start in Charlotte?
Sure.
Those Hornets, man, making waves here. Free agent guard Tony Parker has agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Charlotte Hornets, a league source told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, bringing to a close his 17-year career with the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs wanted Parker back in a mentorship role, but he will take on a significant role with the Hornets behind guard Kemba Walker.
So he's essentially going to play that mentorship role in Charlotte to Kemba? Is that what I'm to presume?
I don't. Kemba doesn't need a mentor at this point. I think he's probably just.
I wouldn't think he.
I think it's just you know PG2. He's the leader of the second group, maybe.
Does this? I mean, and there's some other move that happened, right? Didn't they bring somebody else?
They brought back Bismack Biyombo, who, if we want to get into the long list of useless and wasted draft picks, and I'm not even including this year's. Miles Bridges, looking at you.
Did he get hurt last night, too?
Miles Bridges?
Yeah.
Did he get hurt last night?
In the Summer League game, I swear. Have you been watching some of the Summer League stuff?
I have been watching some Summer League stuff. Marvin Bagley's showing out.
Nice. I swear I think Miles Bridges had to be helped off under some sort of, I don't know if it was a serious injury or not, but I know you and I are neither one are sold on that pick, per se.
Yeah. No. He did go 2 for 14 in his opener the other day, but no word on him being hurt that I know of.
So he's just hurting the team.
Yeah, right. He's exactly what we thought he was. Not that exciting. I think he had 14 points his most recent outing, but
purgatory. Are we right
yes,
now?
exactly.
I mean, what is this?
What a horrible move.
Dwight Howard for who? Who did they trade Dwight Howard for?
Did they even trade Dwight
Andre
Howard?
Yagauskas or something like that? Who was it?
It's Adrinas Ilgauskas.
Well, who was that?
I think they let.
It was terrible.
I think they just let Dwight walk.
Oh man, I thought.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure
no, they did. They traded him to the
him.
Nets for.
Oh yeah,
that same dude that Mitch Kupchak always signs.
Yeah.
Is it Mozgov? Was
His
it Mozgov?
boy, yeah, Timofey
Mozgov.
Timofey.
And then the Nets bought out Dwight Howard. They're
Yes.
like, yeah, we really didn't want that guy. And then
So-
he got signed
so
with the Wizards.
Mozgov.
Mozgov. Tony Parker.
Biombo, Tony Parker, Kemba Walker. Oh boy, Malik Monk. Can we throw him in there?
I guess we have to because we're stuck with him also.
Frank Kaminsky. Frank Kaminsky. How are you feeling? And being led by this great young coach, right? This protege, leader of men.
Do you even remember his name? Because I don't.
No.
He's a Popovich
Blob
disciple. James Borrego.
There you go.
Yeah. No, man. I guess that makes sense, right? Like the fact that he at least has Borrego, the new coach for the Hornets, has some sort of connection with Tony Parker stemming from all that time in San Antonio. And look, I love Tony Parker. And if this was a move by, let's say, your Boston Celtics or the 76ers or one of these teams that's already pretty good and has eyes for a championship.
Just needing a good 10 to 15 minutes from a guy.
Exactly. Somebody who can come in and you can put your starting point guard on the bench, give him some rest, and you know the offense is still in good hands. That's what Tony Parker is for a team who is trying to compete. Why are the Charlotte Hornets trying to compete? What about this Charlotte Hornets team says, you know what, we're a Timothy Mozgov and a Tony Parker away from making a play at the Eastern Conference? And I understand the Eastern Conference is in shambles right now. I mean, what is it? Over the last decade, there's only one player in the Eastern Conference who has ever been named to a first-team All-NBA team, and that one guy is Joakim Noah. Over the last decade, of all the players in the Eastern Conference right now, Joakim Noah is the only guy who has ever been named to a first-team All-NBA team. So the Eastern Conference is open for the taking.
Yeah.
But just not for this Hornets team. And look, they got better by adding Tony Parker. There's no doubt about that. If you're telling me that when Kemba Walker needs a breather, that you can bring in Tony Parker, yes, that sounds really good. But if you're talking about, but the goal here is to ultimately get better, Charlotte, and be better for a long time, because nearly 40-year-old Tony Parker, he's on a 2-year deal. He's gone after 2 years. He's not a building block necessarily. Yeah. He needs to be a final touch, not some sort of stopgap, because all a stopgap does for the Charlotte Hornets right now is going to drag out this rebuild that desperately needs to happen.
Yeah, it's like you go from, okay, great, so we finished, 10th, 11th in the East last year, so maybe now we can move up to 8th or something in the Eastern Conference. Right. It's just meandering around Nowheresville, and it doesn't allow you to draft high enough to get a transcendent talent. You have to get lucky and hope somewhere in the middle of the first round or late, or it's for Charlotte, and I just don't know what to say about your basketball right now. Yeah, the East has opened up somewhat, but it's certainly not going to help with the group of people that you have. Now, before we move on, and I know this next segment could eat up this entire segment because I know what story this is. We have a lot of summer shows left to go, and this is going to allow us some opportunity to talk about things, and this is not this point, but bringing up Charlotte was in a conversation during vacation about this, and it was about LeBron James and Steph Curry and those kind of things, and we brought up, if LeBron James had gone to Charlotte, does that make them instant contenders for the NBA Finals, in your estimation? If LeBron James goes to the Charlotte Hornets, would they instantly, in the Eastern Conference, be a contender for the finals?
No, because I think this Cavaliers team that LeBron James just left was a lot better than the Charlotte Hornets team.
Okay.
A lot better.
Are they better than that same team? Because I said it'd at least make them a playoff team, and with him and Kemba, you just never know. I mean, it could make them interesting. But if I take that same team and say I put Steph Curry on this Hornets team, where do they finish in the Eastern Conference?
I think either way, whether you give me LeBron or if you give me Steph, you're in third. Right?
Third.
I mean, where do you see? Because the Wizards are bad, man. The Wizards are a bad team.
I don't see them like
maybe they're not as good as the Raptors.
One of the people in the arguments thought that the Hornets would be so bad with Curry that they wouldn't be. They'd be the same team. I think they'd be probably 4th, 5th, 6th in the Eastern Conference, because I still think ultimately you've got so many issues up front. But again, that's something for another show, for another day. But I want to take fantasy Charlotte.
Okay.
How can we? Because
Mozgov was in this trade, by the way.
Yes.
Mozgov got sent to Orlando in the Biombo trade, so we no longer have Timothy Mozgov.
Good, man. Mozgov. So my ultimate point
Biombo's
is
your starting center.
What Charlotte needs to do is what Philly did. If you can't bring in instant free, if you can't microwave fix it, if you can't bloop, 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 and make a new team like that, which Charlotte can't do, then you've got to Philadelphia fix it. You've got to be bad and be really bad and get some decent talent. It's just awful. But that'll be for another topic for another day. I like to microwave fix it to see if we could.
Right.
Let's pretend that we could do anything. How do you fix Charlotte?
You don't. You go back and you redo the draft and you take Michael Porter Jr. and that's probably your best chance, because we've had this conversation several times.
Didn't they have a chance to get Giannis too? Are they one of the teams that overlooked Giannis
pretty much
that year?
everybody had a chance at Giannis. Yeah, Giannis dropped to like 14 or 16.
That's what I'm saying.
That might have been the year that they drafted Michael Kidd-Gilchrist number 2 overall, and we see how that's played out. Just quickly thinking here, because what you're talking about doing, how do we microwave this Charlotte Hornets team and fix it? I don't know that there's a way to do that, because we've had this conversation with Michael Norwood plenty of times where it's free agents for whatever reason it is, whether it's just the lack of interest in the city of Charlotte, or the team has never felt like they were really close to winning anything. For some reason, free agents don't look at Charlotte as a possible destination. So you have to build through the draft. Yeah. You almost have to build a new culture, right? Philadelphia, for the massive amount of basketball tradition and culture that they have there, that culture goes away. You hear about the word winning tradition, the phrase winning tradition, all the time associated with these big-time franchises. Well, if you go like a decade without winning, if you go 15 years, that winning tradition is somewhat something to laugh at. But what you do is you go and you rebuild it and you revamp the culture, and that's what you've seen in Philadelphia, I think, where you have a larger-than-life superstar and a guy like Joel Embiid who is kind of the flag bearer, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, we remember Philadelphia being the basketball powerhouse they've always been. But in Charlotte's case, that's not it. They don't have that, and adding the likes of a Tony Parker isn't going to get you there. But is this maybe actually a sneaky good move by the Charlotte Hornets simply because Tony Parker sounds like a big name? Bismack Biyombo is going to make like $17 million, and he's got a pretty big contract. But at the end of the day, you're talking about you added a guy in Parker who is a very aging superstar. He's injury prone, and he only averaged about 7 points a game last year and about 1.5 assists.
On a good team.
Right, and Biyombo averages like 5 points a game, so maybe this is a good step backwards, because if you're trying to tank, I think Timothy Mozgov can provide you a better option as a starter than Bismack Biyombo. So maybe in some sort of messed up way, adding Biyombo and adding Tony Parker is a sign that they're trying to get worse.
Maybe Parker sells a ticket or two because he's Tony Parker, but at the same time, he's going to lose games because he's not Tony Parker, you remember.
Are you surprised that he left San Antonio? That he wasn't one of those guys that said, I'm just going to stay here and close out my career with the Spurs?
Well, I mean, apparently the way that it's going down, and again, maybe another summer show for another day, is the Spurs are... The legacy that's being left is not as storied as apparently. I mean, hard to say, but now there's a lot of people aside from Kawhi that are being anti-pop coming out of San Antonio. And I'm not saying that Tony Parker is, but it's just interesting that that's the one organization just always pointed to doing the right thing, the right way, great coach. And now they're getting all this negativity with guys kind of leaving. I guess it just nothing surprises me. At some point, you got to let it go. And I think San Antonio realizes maybe it's time for them to let go of some of these older players.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to see it. I mean, Parker's a guy who went to 5 finals with the Spurs. You know, been there forever. But it's interesting what you're saying about Popovich and how the reputation is like kind of soured a little bit. And do you think he's always been like that, or is that a product of Pop just being the crotchety old man in the room now?
You know, and I don't know. I mean, is it the, just is it select guys? Is it just Kawhi? Is it maybe just some other guy? Because, I mean, I tell you, Danny Green probably wouldn't say any bad thing about him. I don't know if any of the older guys would say anything. The Duncans or whatnot have said anything bad.
I mean,
about
Parker
him.
had nothing to say but good things about him going out the door. But
it's
like the young regime doesn't necessarily respect what Greg Popovich is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that or, it's just interesting to see it. You just think it's always going to be there. And then I just remember every year we'd say, well, this has got to be the year, right? San Antonio won't be good anymore. You just didn't think it would go down like this, but and again, weren't they still pretty decent last year? They finished in the top 4 in the Western Conference.
Still fine,
and it feels like they've burned it down. Like, oh, it's over. No more championships in San Antonio now for a while.
It does seem like they're burning it down. I mean, it sounds like the whole rebuild process. I don't know. We've just done 18 minutes or something.
Have we not even getting on?
No, we're still on the first story.
We haven't even gotten on.
I knew this would happen coming back from vacation. I would have never thought it was the Charlotte Hornets that would make me burn through the whole entire segment.
And now because this next story, I told you, I don't even know. I don't know how I'm going to be able to. All right, let's just jump to it.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to, or do you want to? Do you want to do this? I've got a third story that I don't think is all that appealing. I mean, it's kind of appealing. It's about Wimbledon. Do you want to do a Wimbledon story and then come back
and do the third story?
Talk about the Breakfast Club that's going on out in LA.
I think you're right. That may be the best way to do it. So let me. Of course, I say that, and then as soon as I'm ready to play this stupid sound.
I'm trying to remember who was that rookie for that San Antonio guy, the guy from Miami, who jumped out of the gym. Oh, he looked so good in his summer league game the other night.
I don't know.
He has the wacky hair. He's the new guy because the Spurs also let Kyle Anderson walk.
Yeah.
They did so literally if Kawhi ends up leaving, which I still think the Spurs might find a way to hang on to him.
Right.
There's nobody left in San Antonio.
LaMarcus Aldridge. Okay.
Are you ready? Okay, Wimbledon. Sorry, I wasn't ready either. Serena Williams' Wimbledon tournament rolls on as the women's quarterfinals will be without a top 10 player for the first time in the Open era. Williams beat qualifier Evgenia Rodina 6-2, 6-2 on Monday to advance.
Yeah.
Williams will next face Italy's Camilla Giorgi, who beat American Madison Brangle 6-4, 6-4. As the number 25 seed, Williams is in the Wimbledon quarterfinals for the 13th time. She jumped to a 3-0 lead in both sets and wrapped up the win in just 62 minutes. You been watching Wimbledon?
I have.
Yeah.
Have you?
No. Though I will watch Wimbledon before I watch any of the World Cup, which it sounds like you might be forcing me to do this week.
Well, I mean, it's going to be on during the show tomorrow and Wednesday. So, it's interesting as I thought about you in this. It's just a whole difference. 1990, I actually read a little bit about of a book that I still need to finish. My goal was to try to finish it during vacation, but who does that? Reads a whole book during their vacation? Besides librarians. I can hear that one librarian in the crowd.
I read a book.
I did. The 1990, I was 16, 17 years old. Okay, so in 1990, I think it may have been the U.S. Open or the Wimbledon. Good for me for being so accurately right. I think it was the Wimbledon final, though, was Sampras and Agassi.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like a big deal.
And it was a big deal then. And they were young, but they were two Americans. And I was telling you, to me, that would completely change if there were two Americans who were top 5, and one of them was like Agassi at that point was projected to be this big great, and they had gotten to the final. I believe this was the U.S. Open. That's completely different than now when. And I know
who's in it. I mean, Federer, Nadal,
yes,
Novak.
And I know that people are gonna be like, "Well, Sam, can't you get into women's tennis?" Yes, but not really. It is different, right? If it has to be men's tennis, right? And I know people are gonna say sexist, but I'm sorry for it to be really grab you and have you like, I'm gonna be down. I'm watching this because Agassi's playing Sampras. That would be completely different, right? The men's tennis is a little different.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, we obviously love and celebrate Serena Williams for everything great that she's ever done, but can I go so far as to say, as everybody likes to say this about Kevin Durant, that Serena Williams kind of just ruined women's tennis for me? Because I understand that there are other good professional female tennis players and that Serena doesn't always win, but doesn't she kind of always win still? I mean, it says right there, 13th time she's been in the quarterfinals in Wimbledon. For some unknown reason, I don't understand how the tennis world rankings work, but Serena Williams is 25th in the world right now, and she's still in the quarterfinals, and she's knocking off people.
Because she hasn't played. That's why she's 25th.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like if you can go and you can have a child and then show up to Wimbledon and just mow through the competition. The last girl she beat in 62 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not interested because it's top heavy.
Yeah.
And I just don't know any of the names.
Right.
You know, we love the NBA because we feel like we know these players as people because they're so out there and you know, and maybe some of this is just the way the sport's covered and we don't necessarily cover it that much. I mean, you're not going to see tennis on ESPN unless Wimbledon is on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's nothing drawing me towards tennis, women's or men's. I mean, like, I'm sick of Federer and Nadal and Novak Djokovic. Like, it's okay, they're there again.
It's been the same three. And as I said, and I hate to be the ugly American, but none of those guys are American. So, yes. I mean, again, imagine if, and we'll insert Andy Roddick, or James Blake. James Blake didn't turn out to be that big star. Let's imagine James Blake is winning and he's up there and has a rivalry with Federer. Then that changes the dynamic for most American sports fan. It just absolutely does. As I said, I had come off the heels of Connors, McEnroe. Those guys were just dominant, and it was Becker and all those guys. So, and then here comes Agassi and Sampras. So Americans were great and on the top of their game, and we had young and old. So as I was saying, reading about that, that's why I know the younger generation isn't going to be drawn to this sport because there aren't any good Americans. Young Americans aren't going to be drawn to the sport.
John Isner did win this morning. He took care of business. And
Carolina guy, too.
Is he a Carolina guy?
Greensboro.
Oh, like, did he go to UNC?
I don't know if he went to UNC, but I meant North Carolina guy.
Yeah.
Not,
don't say Carolina guy, because once you say Carolina guy, then
yes.
I'm like, okay, I'm not cheering for him anymore. But
no, a North Carolina guy. North Carolina guy.
He did win this morning, so he also advanced.
Straight sets, too.
Straight sets, yeah.
Well, we need to take a break. We got one more story, more to come on this awesome Monday afternoon. That's right. I had to think about it. We'll be back.